come with soft focus as we go to Portland, Oregon. Like most port towns, Portland is a grimy nest of wayward sailors, rat-borne disease, and virile press gangs. But it's also a vital and vibrant creative locus, fueled by remote ideas brought by merchant ships from faraway foreign lands. Tonight, I talk to Portland's greatest, Fred and Toody Cole, of Pierced Arrows, Dead Moon, The Rats, and so many other aggregates. They create some of the most exciting and effective rock and roll music ever made, and they also produce and release their own records. I honestly can't wait to speak with them.
Soft focus. Soft focus.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us. Awesome. Thanks for keeping Portland in the limelight here. She deserves it.
We live here because of the water.
Is that true? Yeah. What brought you guys to Portland?
I was born here, so I guess that's my excuse.
Oh yeah, your parents. Your parents brought.
I met her and I just couldn't help but stay. Cool.
Actually, he ended up here by accident. The band he was in at the time was actually heading to kind of avoid the draft situation in late 1966, and they happened to run out of gas here in Portland and kind of got stuck here for a year and a half.
Destiny.
Thank God.
Yeah. The Vietnam War was going on.
Yeah.
And you guys were kind of on the run.
Yeah. Well, we weren't on the run. I mean, we just kept moving around.
They just changed addresses a lot.
I kept getting draft notices, and then I'd just go, not at this address. We'd move, you know. Then they finally says, well, no matter what you do, no matter where you move, you better show up for this thing. And by that time, she was like 2 months, I think, pregnant with our second kid. So we went in to the doctor, got verification that we had another one on the way. And they said, okay, you are out of it. That's how I escaped it.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of my friends didn't escape it. And, you know, one of the bass player in the Weeds shot off the end of his foot, figuring he'd get out from that. He went in and reported for the physical. They still took him and made a special boot for him and made him a cook.
Wow.
I mean, you know.
They were
It was
desperate.
scary times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think the motivation for that war was? I mean, there's a lot of different theories.
Economics, like always.
Yeah, I think it was,
As you look back,
know,
when you're
rubber,
a kid, you just don't know. I mean,
I
at the
don't know.
time, his whole focus was his musical career and the fact of being gone for 4 years when,
Well,
at
I
that
had a
point,
guy-
everything needed to happen immediately
yeah,
when
and
you were
I had
that
a guy
young.
come to
so-
our school that had just come back and lost, you know, one of his legs and this and that. And they said, man, nobody should go to this thing. Just protest it, don't go. I mean, before then, I was totally into, you know, John Wayne and all this other stuff, thinking, man, you know, you got to go over there and be a hero and stuff. But I saw so much going down with it that I had an easier time thinking about shooting some of the people that were here, you know, than to go over there and innocent people that I really didn't have a beef with, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Right on. That's, yeah. So you're a working musician, or a working musician since you were 15.
Yeah, I was playing on this Las Vegas Strip. I was making $125 a week playing six nights a week on the Strip. And I was playing in a place called the Colonial House in the band called the Lords. And it was a go-go joint with girls on each side of the thing. And I was 15. And even then, you weren't allowed to be in the club if you weren't on stage. So I'd have to be back in the kitchen or outside. But that was my first exposure to, you know, kind of like a strip joint, you know, thing. You know, I still remember walking out on stage and here's this girl next to me up on this pedestal dancing with these big tosser deals on her nipples, you know. And I can't even remember my bass parts, you know. I mean, I'm like, man, you know, whoa, you know. But, you know, that was cool.
And did you go to school, or did you just drop out?
I made it through my sophomore
but
year. I got kicked out the second day of my junior year.
His hair was way too
My
long.
hair
and
was
I think it
my hair
almost
was
as
like
long
over
as
my
yours right
ears,
now.
and I refused to cut it. So I was like, yeah, whatever.
You were produced by Larry Williams?
How far back do you want to go?
Oh God, yeah, that was when I was really, I was running behind a car with a rope tied around me around Las Vegas. I had a manager that was totally into thinking that if I, became a marathon runner, I could get through the set. I was playing,
Really conditioning.
crazy. Oh yeah,
Physical
crazy.
conditioning.
Well, we had this act together to where they'd get out on stage and start playing one of our songs. He would have me get in the back and run across the top of the backs of the chairs and then make this giant leap up onto the stage, fall down like James Brown, and then just start running around screaming like a maniac and doing my songs. Oh my God, it was so bad, and I was so into it. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world,
man. Come
It was a
on.
gig, man. Wow,
So you got to Portland, and there was this rock and roll scene, and was it happening? Was it like?
So we hit town. We were playing our own stuff, plus we did a lot of covers by Love, Rolling Stones, Beatles.
But they were way more raucous than most of what the local bands were doing at the time.
Pretty much, half our own stuff, half other people's stuff. And so, people didn't know what to think about what we were doing. They pretty much been listening to Power Beer and the Raiders for, I don't know, 2 years.
Yeah, I was wondering, so were you friends with the other, like, Portland legends, like Greg Sage and...
Oh, yeah. I mean, at that
Napalm
point, we
Beach?
had a music store downtown called Captain Wizzigles, and probably sold just about every kid in this town his first guitar, or drum set, or whatever. And met Greg Sage there, met Sam Henry there. Pretty much everybody came, hung out there, and just totally reminded me of the first days of the Crystal Ballroom all over again, which we were involved with as well. So it was just amazingly right time, right place, and real lucky, like I say, to have been involved in something that was that monumental, not just in your life, but a lot of other people's lives and the music scene in Portland in general.
What was the Crystal Ballroom? We've all
The
been
Crystal,
there,
when
but-
we were involved in it, first reopened again in like 1967.
Oh, yeah.
And
We were the house
they were
band,
the house
and our
band.
manager was the one that was running it.
The Weeds.
And,
Yeah, that was the
Whitey
Weeds,
Davis,
yeah.
and then Toody was doing the door, selling tickets out front.
We all lived in the same
Yeah.
big band house, and did the band's laundry, handed out the flyers, drew the flyers, the whole
Yeah,
9
yeah.
yards. So
So Portland in the early '70s, you were doing these groups. You were part of this rock and roll scene, and then you started the Rats, which is like a punk band. Mm-hmm. But were people freaked out by that?
What was really cool when punk rock came back around again is that it really had the original energy and feel of the stuff that we left from the 60s, which isn't what they play on the radio. And then he was in Kingi at the time, and they got real lucky, and there was a cancellation on a bill with the Ramones. And as soon as he heard the Ramones, it was just like, oh, I got to be playing something that's
They had
got
energy up
some,
the ass, man. It was
some balls
like,
and some energy
fuck,
to it.
okay, yeah.
And at that point, that's where he came up with the idea for the Rats.
Yeah.
And just grabbed one of our customers from Wizzigles who wanted to learn how to play drums, talked me into learn how to play bass, and said, hey, none of us know what we're doing, let's go.
Yeah.
Because he'd been lead singing before that pretty much. Had just started playing electric guitar.
All I did
And
with guitar was
took
just
it from
write
there.
songs, so I
And
never
everybody else
played
was starting out from ground level. And at that point, it was like, hey, if the Sex Pistols can do it, so can anybody.
Yeah.
Also, the I don't know, your lyrics are very singular, but they're classic. And I don't know, is there a particular model or like?
Believe it or not, some of the songs he's written, he's dreamed them before he's written them. A lot of times he says he almost feels like he's almost channeling to where it's coming from someplace else, but it's coming from him.
I get paranoid about some of the songs I write because just about everything I write comes to be within a year. So when I write a song that says, psychedelic nightmare or, whatever, I mean, I get these things that come
Black
down.
September's coming down.
Black September, man, I think, oh my God, what's ahead?
Where did that come from? Okay.
But I know that, I'm writing it for a reason, but it's almost like I have these premonitions and I think, man.
Half the time they don't make sense to him when he's writing.
I wrote Down the Road just before we went on our first European tour, before we even knew it was going to happen. It was like, whoa, okay, all right, this is happening. Okay, you know, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, there's a lot of things, you know, that just,
It's cool. Gets spooky sometimes, but it's cool.
yeah, it's like, whoa, you know. But
Wow. Why did Europeans figure you guys out before Americans?
To me, the most amazing thing, the first time that we ended up going over was just what historians the Europeans are about rock in general.
Yeah.
I mean, I meet different people like you, and you know a lot about bands and records and this and that. But over there, it's like they really research the musicians and have a respect for somebody who's had a career that spanned, you know, that amount of time.
they know more of our history than we do.
It's
I'm
crazy.
serious.
It is. It's
They would
nuts.
ask me things, and I go, what? And they go, well, I read that in 1965 you were. I go, oh, yeah. How'd you find that out? You know, I mean, you wonder how they even find some of this stuff out.
Yeah.
They treat you like sort of an artist.
You're an artiste, yes.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
It's very classy.
I wanted to ask you because, yeah, you've been through all this record industry, kind of record business stuff. Like, I know you control every aspect of your recording.
At this point.
Yeah, is there a particular experience that led you to the conclusion?
At first, it was just kind of just the lifestyle that we've chosen. We've pretty much always done everything by ourselves. A lot of it was basic economics, like it was for a lot of the bands. When we started out in the punk days with the Rats, he'd, you know, get everything recorded, this and that, send it off, have somebody else master it, figuring they wanted everything homogenized and mellowed out and this and that, and then they'd come back with a master that just sounded completely washed out, something you weren't happy with. And that's when he decided to start trying to cut the masters himself with the old mono lathe that he's got. And then it just kind of became a ritual. It just becomes part of who you are, what you do. And kind of the only concession that we've made is it's just gotten to be such a nightmare with him, hearing aids and all, to actually do the recording part. So this last stuff with Pierce Darrows, we went into a small studio that a friend of ours has here in town, Fresh Tracks. Are you still doing the mastering, still getting the covers together, or working with the artists that are doing the concepts that he's got in mind? And
We stay up all night pasting up our 45 sleeves.
Still doing
I mean, we got a seven cut process, so we have like 3,000 covers.
the assembly
we line
line
them up on our
going.
bed, and she does the gluing and cutting and this and that. I do
But
a
I
lot
don't
of the
know.
cutting, and we both do the folding. And
There's a sense of accomplishment and feeling like
you know.
you've been hands-on with something, and when it's finally finished and there, you can go, I did that. You know, it's great.
Well, tell me about the mono lathe. This lathe
It's an old 1954 Presto lathe.
belonged to the Kingsmen.
Well, it actually belonged to the studio, KISN.
yeah.
And one of the guys there was their manager at the time.
So the lathe was in Kissen till like 72 or something like that, and then they just put it in the basement and they
been
dismantled the
stored
whole
for
thing.
years.
I called them a whole bunch of times, and they said, "Oh yeah, we don't want to sell it. It's nostalgia." I finally gave up on it. So on my birthday, on August 28th, we were in Reno, and she goes, "Man, I bought you the lathe." She got it for $200.
Nice job.
So we came
Finally
back
told them
to
they could do
town.
that.
The whole thing was apart. And we go, oh man, where are we going to even get this thing through? We had to take the front door out and load it up the stairs. Anyway,
It's heavy.
it is real heavy and it's real big. And so anyway, we finally got it in there. It took me forever to put it together. I think it was 3 months. I kept trying to cut things. I'd get nothing, no sound would come through. I kept rewiring everything. And finally, I got the first little bit of sound came through one of the discs, and I thought, oh my God, there's possibility it might work. Kept tweaking everything, and finally, we got the thing to work, and then I started cutting Hey Joe and Parchment Farm, or the first Dead Moon 45.
7-inch.
Got the sound on there, and
Yeah. Second rule of DIY. Never
baby,
give up.
oh baby, it works. It was so sweet, man. I mean, it was like,
Now
oh,
about 20 albums later, and I don't know how
God,
many
you know.
7-inches later.
Yeah, but
She's
you know,
still working.
I mean, we cut these things in the middle of the night, and we're both just a nervous wreck by the time we get them done.
Yeah.
Because you can't play it. You have to send it in, and they go through the plating process.
So you don't even know if it's
So
if
we
it
don't
worked.
even know if we got anything on it
It's
until
just
we
another thing to gamble
until
with.
they call us and go, man,
But we
you
like
know.
to
And the
gamble.
first time we sent it in, the woman goes, man, there's something wrong with your press because this record is really noisy. It sounds really bad. I go, okay, send it to us. They sent it to us. It sounded great to me.
It's the way I like it.
And I go, man, what's wrong? And she goes, well, it's so noisy and it's got all this stuff in it. I go, well,
That's how we
the way we sound, okay? So she goes, oh, okay.
Oh, okay, I get it.
So she never calls us anymore. She just goes, yeah, okay, this is you guys. I know it's gonna, you know.
Well, when you're in a group, there's always this distribution of labor. And what, like, how do you guys distribute the labor between?
I pretty much take care of, you know, all the book work and, you know, dealing with promoters getting paid at the end of the night. Fred does all the driving. We all do all of our share of loading and this and that and spread the interview trip around and whatnot. And it pays having something to do instead of just a whole lot of waiting around, as Charlie Watts is known to say.
Yeah.
I mean, we get to a gig, you're looking 4 hours before we play half the time. You know, some places we have to get there at 4 in the afternoon and nowhere to go, and we play at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
and it's, you know, so we take so many crossword puzzles on tour with us.
Tax
you
your
cannot
brain.
believe. So we just sit there for 7 hours, either racing or whatever, seeing who can, you know, do what.
Fill the
faster.
time.
Yeah.
Competitor.
Yeah.
Toody usually wins, but not all the time, you know. But yeah, we just did the Portland Marathon on October 5th, just before our
I heard about that.
U.S. tour.
That's
yeah,
amazing.
Oh, man,
That was awesome.
Something else. Ball peen hammer on the back of my heels, man, a mile 20. Man, I could hardly walk. But she beat me in that, okay?
Wow.
I did it in 6.5 hours. She did it in like 6 hours, 15 minutes. But
Wow.
that was a miserable day. I mean, it was raining and it was windy.
The weather,
and it was,
that is. The race was great.
We both planned on doing that for our 60th birthday, and for some time, I had just turned 60. Toody turned 60 December 30th, so we're both born in
close.
1948.
You're Virgo, she's Capricorn.
Yeah.
So that's why we were
Earth
called.
signs.
That's why we were called the Rats, is because 1948 is year of the rat. You know, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people call talk about their own groups and they say, well, you know, it's like a marriage. So you guys have done 5 bands together. And have you?
Done that many? Yeah.
So Pierced Arrows is like starting a new band. Is that like a renewal of vows, kind of?
Kind of it is, and it's just kind of a renewal of your own personal energies and just getting, nervous, getting that old jazz back. That's been the most exciting part for both of us. And just going in with all new material and just kind of, you know, seeing if it still works, seeing if you still got it.
Like when you think about these bands that have been around for a long time, like what if like Pete and Roger from The Who started a new band right now? Think of what a bold step that would be.
Yeah.
And that's the step you guys took. It's really impressive.
Thanks.
It's cool.
Cool.
I think so too.
You don't have to talk about this if you don't want, but what was your marriage like? Like, I know you got married really young.
It was so much fun, yeah. We got really married really young. We were 18, and by the time I was 22, I think we had all 3 of our kids. And we just kind of lived like vagabonds, moved around with the band, took our kids everywhere. They had a great time. And didn't really kind of settle down until after our kids started school. And that's when we got the idea of, well, hey, we got to have some way to pay the bills, so let's open a music store. I guess we could do that. And that happened to take off. And but it's been a great ride.
41 years.
Yeah. Really glad we had our kids young, you know.
Yeah.
And we've kind of been entitled to our second childhood now, which is what we've been doing pretty much ever since we started Dead Moon.
What about the Range Rats? Is that going to get
The Range Rats was just kind of an interim thing.
We got bored this one summer after the Rats. We said, man, we got to get into something different. So we took off for the whole summer and left our kids at the house with money to cover stuff. Oh man.
They were old enough. They were in their teens.
They were old
Don't
enough.
arrest me.
It wasn't an illegal deal. But anyway, we took off to Nevada and decided to live in our van for 3 months and played nothing but country and western and old rock and roll in all these funky towns you'd never heard of, where guys are mining all day long. These guys would come in, you know, covered in dirt and everything else.
Yeah,
and
there's a bunch of like ranches,
50
sheep
people would
ranches
come in
and
and show
whatever.
up at these gigs. and pay Toody, you know, $10 tips to keep playing Stand By Your Man over and over, or I'd get
Crazy.
$10 tips to be
Crazy.
playing Ring of Fire or whatever, you know. So that's how that
It
whole
was really
thing
fun.
started. And we just kept living in this van and moving around. And every once in a while, we'd get, you know, feel like, okay, we're going to splurge. We had this one place in Carson City that we were staying at for $47 a week. We called it the Cockroach Hotel because the cockroaches would be running up and down the wall and you turn the lights on. So we'd have contests with our cowboy boots, smashing cockroaches on the wall. It looked like a big polka dot room.
He's not
You
kidding.
know,
There was no TV in the room.
Check it out.
no TV, so this was entertainment. But yeah, we did that, and that was a kick in the butt. That was real fun. We spent the whole summer down there.
But at some point, playing, you know, the country stuff is great, but it's just, you know, the tempo, given this and that, and we just have always loved the energy of you know, some up-tempo and rock and roll stuff. And so at that point, he just wanted to get back to his roots and just kind of go back and play just basic rock and roll stuff, and that's why we started Dead Moon.
It's a great pleasure to talk to you guys.
Cool.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much
That's
for having
amazing.
us. It's awesome. Thank you, guys.